I had been looking forward to this cruise for months. Work had been unbearable, and the thought of being on the open ocean, waves stretching endlessly, sun on my face and drinks in hand, was exactly what I needed. The first day was perfect. Endless buffets, pools, and laughter from other passengers. But even on the first night, I noticed something off. My cabin was quiet. Too quiet. The ship usually groaned and creaked as it moved, but here, it almost felt silent. I settled into my bed and tried to sleep, but at around 2:30 a.m., I woke to a soft scratching sound. My door. I froze. The scratching continued slowly, deliberately, faint but steady. I sat up, my heart hammering, and listened. The hallway outside my cabin was pitch black. The overhead lights dim. I tiptoed to the door and peeked out. Nothing. The hallway was empty. The silence was deafening, and I told myself I was imagining it. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Whenever I passed the hallways, I thought I saw movement just at the corner of my eye. A dark figure standing in the shadows. Motionless, I convinced myself it was tired eyes or nerves from the rocking ship, until I stumbled upon a door I hadn't noticed before. A door that wasn't on the ship's map. Curious, I tried the handle. Locked. The wood felt ancient, cold, almost alive. I asked a crew member about it the next day. Their face went pale. "That cabin doesn't exist," they said. "At least it shouldn't." That night, I woke again, freezing. The lights flickered and the scratching started, only louder. Now inside my cabin, I sat upright, heart racing. A shadow moved across the floor, tall, thin, almost faceless, lingering near the doorway. I jumped out of bed, but the figure didn't move. I backed toward the door, and the shadow seemed to grow, stretching along the walls, closing in. The scratching became scratching and scraping. Like nails against wood, I ran to the deck, shaking, gasping, the cold wind hitting my face. I tried to explain to the crew what I saw. They laughed it off nervously, but I could see they were avoiding looking at that hallway. The next day, I discovered something worse. Footprints outside the mysterious door, damp and freezing despite the hall being climate-controlled. They led to the edge of the cabin wall and disappeared. By the final night, I couldn't sleep at all. Every sound, the creaking ship, distant footsteps, the occasional whisper, made my skin crawl. When I finally forced myself to check the hallway one last time, the door was open. I swear I heard a whisper, "You're leaving too soon." The shadow was gone, but I could feel it, as if the cabin itself was alive and watching me. I left the ship early that morning, avoiding the mysterious door entirely. Even months later, I still dream about it. The silent cabin that shouldn't exist, the shadow waiting, and the footsteps circling my bed as I slept. I've been on several cruises, and I usually enjoy meeting new people, exploring the ship, and taking photos on deck. But this trip, I noticed someone I couldn't explain. A passenger, tall, thin, always in the shadows, kept appearing wherever I went. At the buffet, leaning against railings, in the casino. I tried to ignore him at first, chalking it up to coincidence, but every time I turned to look directly, he vanished. By the second day, I started feeling uneasy. I saw him in my cabin reflection one morning, standing silently in the doorway. I blinked, and he was gone. I asked the crew if they knew him. "No passengers by that description," one said, frowning. "Are you feeling okay?" Their tone was too concerned. I realized I couldn't tell anyone else. They would think I was imagining things. By night, it escalated. I was walking across the top deck when I saw him again, standing on the edge, staring out at the dark ocean. I called out. His head turned slightly, and for a fraction of a second, I saw his face. It wasn't human. Gray, hollow eyes, features twisted, almost decayed. Then he was gone. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I turned a corner, I thought I saw him. On the third night, I woke to soft knocking at my cabin door. My hands shook as I opened it. Empty hallway. I stepped out, heart racing, and suddenly he was there. Taller, darker, looming over the railings. As I turned, I ran. On the last night, I refused to sleep in my cabin. I stayed in a lounge, staring at the ocean. The moment I disembarked, I felt a fleeting presence, a shadow at the edge of my vision. Months later, I looked at the photos I'd taken on deck. Every single one was fine, except one. A blurry, dark figure in the background, exactly where I remembered seeing him the first night. I always preferred staterooms at the back of the ship. Quieter, fewer people passing by, great views. But my cabin on this cruise had a window that wouldn't open. The crew said it was broken. I accepted it, but that night I heard faint tapping against the glass. At first, I thought it was wind, but the tapping became rhythmic, deliberate, like someone trying to get my attention. Curiosity and fear mixed. I drew the curtain, leaned closer. Nothing. The open water stretched endlessly. Then I noticed a shadow in the glass reflection, tall, thin, and faceless. My heart jumped. I blinked, and it disappeared. The next night, the tapping started again, louder, accompanied by faint scratching along the frame. I couldn't sleep. On the third night, I stayed up, staring at the window. The shadow appeared again, moving along the glass. I heard faint footsteps inside my room, deliberate, slow, circling me. I tried to wake up fully, to turn on the lights, but every switch flickered and died. I spent the night on the hallway floor, trembling. On the last night, I refused to enter the cabin alone. The whispers came again, soft, almost intelligible, urging me to look closer, let me in. When we disembarked, I didn't even check the cabin I left with my luggage, trying to act normal, but I could feel it watching, waiting. Even now, months later, I can't look at a window without thinking of that shadow, the rhythmic tapping, and the faceless figure pressing against the glass, patient, waiting for me to return to the open water. And that's where my story ends, or at least where I've chosen to stop telling it, because some things, some horrors, don't truly end when the lights go out or the page is closed. They follow you in ways you don't notice at first. The faint creak of a floorboard when you're alone, the shadow moving just at the edge of your vision, the whisper you can't quite place in the dead of night. Maybe tonight, when you turn off your lights and lie in bed, you'll hear a knock on your door that wasn't there before, or a breathing in the hallway that stops when you look. Maybe you'll see someone in a window that should be empty, or notice footprints that don't belong to you. And when you do, I hope you remember this story, because some doors, some strangers, some passengers never truly stay where they belong. They wait, patiently, silently, watching. And the truth is, you never really know when they're going to step out from the shadows, right into your world.